Dan, shut the fuck up. Okay. Hello, YouTube. I was watching Dan's live stream and it just kind of occurred to me, because of the release of Tachanoff documentary, The Internet Is Here, which is a freaking great song, by the way. I've been thinking a lot about Dan and Phil recently, and I realized that people always use them as clickbait. And I wanted to talk about that. Like, more people seem to be putting Dan and Phil on like thumbnails and not including them in the video at all, or just seen in the video for like a few seconds, which is obviously annoying. Why is this the case though? Why do people use Dan and Phil for clickbait? What's the appeal? Well, part of the appeal is that Dan and Phil are immensely popular, especially since their stage show. Like, millions of people love them, so they also have a very dedicated fan base, which the dedicated fan base says, hey, that video has a picture of Dan and Phil in the thumbnail, maybe they're in it, let me click on it, whatever. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I do this sometimes too. People really do it just for views, and their videos are usually monetized, so when they're getting views, they're also getting money for it. So basically they're using Dan and Phil to exploit their very loyal fan base for views, aka money, which is awful. Dan actually spoke about it in a live show, not this one, but Dan spoke about it in a live show referencing a certain YouTuber called Onision, which he gets a lot of shit anyway, and Dan was very polite about it.
I'm just gonna say this. Why is everybody mentioning Onision? I feel like recently a lot of people have felt like me and Phil are very popular, and they like to just talk about us to get attention from you guys. You know? And I feel like they're using you to get attention and money for themselves, and that makes me feel bad because we love you very dearly and we appreciate you and we think that you're kind, so we don't like anybody being exploited.
Especially for Onision's case, the videos that have Dan and Phil in the thumbnail but don't mention Dan and Phil, or hardly mention Dan and Phil at all, have more dislikes than likes, and they really don't seem to care about it as long as they're getting the views. Onision especially. Like, really think about it. How many Dan and Phil thumbnails do you come across as a fan of Dan and Phil? The fandom really jokes about watching vlogs just because Dan and Phil were in it for like 2 seconds in the background or whatever. Like, if you joke about something like that, a YouTuber's gonna take advantage of it. Even Dan and Phil's friends have taken advantage of it once or twice before. Although there are YouTubers that are saying, hey, I don't do this. Like Evan, I can never pronounce last names. He actually referenced that he now edits fan out, which is really great because he doesn't want people only watching his YouTube videos for like 3 seconds of Dan and Phil in the background, maybe less.
I was avoiding having any fan in my vlogs forever. I just don't want like people watching my videos, my travel videos, which I'm really happy and I'm very proud of now. I don't want people watching my videos just for a clip of someone in the background. Like, that annoys me. I mean, I understand they're fit AF, but I'd rather just, you know, make what I like to make and have people watch it because they like what I'm making and they like me.
The conclusion is, this is awful that Dan and Phil are being used as clickbait and their fan base is being taken advantage of. How do we stop this though? Like, why am I bringing this up if I don't have a solution for it? Basically, my solution is block Onision. That's only part of the solution. Just, if you see Dan and Phil in a thumbnail, be wary of it. Just be like, are they really in this video completely? Like, you could probably find, you can find Dan and Phil in vlogs. There's a freaking whole entire channel dedicated to it. And if you really want to see Dan and Phil, just Dan and Phil and not these other YouTubers that put so much time and work into their vlogs and found out that Dan and Phil were in the background for like 2 seconds and now people are only watching for Dan and Phil. You can just watch those separate channels. This was all over the place, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Yes, be wary of Dan and Phil clickbait, and don't watch Onision's videos. I don't know. I don't hate Onision, I don't hate anybody, but he is really taking advantage of the fandom and how much they're willing to go to watch a video that has Dan and Phil in it at all. And I just realized I have Dan in this video the entire time, so if you don't want to look at me, you can look at him in the background in a onesie on a live stream that I wanted to watch, but then I decided I have to make this YouTube video because this is a topic that I've been thinking about for a while. Thanks for watching this. I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't fall for clickbait. Bye!